Hey folks, Colton Woods here with your Monday morning motivation brought to you by Colton Woods Horsemanship. And this week, guys, we are branching a little bit off of our last week's Monday morning motivation, talking about multiplying our dreams, our impact. And this week, we are talking about illusion versus delusion and the power of our thoughts, our perceptions, our ideas, and the power that those have within our everyday lives and even with our horses. For those of us that enjoy spending a lot of time with our horses. All right, guys. So we all know that when we're little kids, a lot of times we experience these opportunities where our parents, our grandparents, those around us will share with us, you can be anything you want to be. You can, if you just put your mind to it, you put the hard work in, and there is a lot of power in that, and there's absolutely a lot of truth to that. But somewhere along the line, we do this thing called growing up, and when we do grow up, the folks around us decide to go from inspiring and motivating us to start protecting us from those what were once illusions and dreams and goals and perceptions to now they become more of a delusion in our life, because now we need to be adults and we need to tend to these things that are not so lofty anymore, and they're not so whimsical, and we don't need to dream about having a house in Malibu on the beach with our own private yacht and a plane, but now we just need to settle right down and wherever we're at in life, and we need to stay where we're at, and we need to be a little more content with where we're at. And this is not to say that we don't need to be happy and we don't need to be thankful for what we have, but there is a big transition in our lives where we go from this childhood state to more of this beginning adulthood state. And those around us that are making these recommendations, they do it because it comes from a place of love. They want to protect you. They don't want to see people get hurt and their feelings get hurt, or to sacrifice certain things in their lives that they think that they might still need. But the really, really important part of this is that our thoughts our thoughts through science can change our reality. They can change our future. And um, one of the people that I've enjoyed diving into here recently is Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of his teachings into this illusion versus delusion situation that we're talking about this week to help bring you guys some value. So one of the things that Dr. Joe Dispenza says is every time we have a thought, we make a chemical. If we have good thoughts, we make chemicals that make us feel good. And if we have negative thoughts, we make chemicals that make us feel exactly the way we are thinking. And going off of that, Dr. Joe Dispenza also dives into the fact that our brains do not know the difference between a thought and an experience. I'll say that again. Our brains do not understand and cannot differentiate the difference between a thought and an experience. And that's not just a concept, that's not just a philosophy, that is hardcore science, that your brain will react in the same way to a thought as it will a real life experience. Okay? So when we think about that, we can change our reality. We can change our neurochemistry. We can change our hormones. We can turn on and off other genes. All of this stuff is taught through a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. And why is that important? Because oftentimes I would recommend to people, if you have these big goals, these big dreams, you might share these with your spouse because you're a team, you're working together. But you may not want to share these with your closest friends that are where you're at in life right now. You may not want to share these with your family members that might feel like they need to protect you and keep you from getting hurt, because that will change the chemistry. You will have an experience based on those conversations. And chances are, if you do take and you do heed their advice and you do take that advice, that it will hold you back from reaching those goals and those dreams. And then the resentment will grow between your friendships and your family and all that stuff. But if you tap into the idea and you truly, truly understand that your brain does not know the difference between a thought and an experience, you can wire your brain to have these experiences, to train your brain as if these experiences have already happened, so that there's a true power in manifestation in our lives, to where when we manifest these things and we think about them continually, there's a reason those things start to happen in our lives, because these thoughts become actions, which become results within our lives. And so you can have these thoughts, these dreams, and if you keep thinking about them and you actually put the work in to work towards them, the power of the thought will become will tell your brain, this is an experience. This is how I live my life. This is how I am rewiring myself to get to that next level. And this concept too is very, very important because our horses understand how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about them, how we feel on a day-to-day basis. And they pick up on those things. And those feelings are thoughts. Our feelings become our thoughts, and our thoughts become our reality. And our horses pick directly on that, to the point that if we have to treat our horses like we want them to be, not necessarily like they are today. Because if we treat them like we are today, they will always be that green, unruly little colt or filly. But then if we say, no, but you're just a Grand Prix horse that hasn't quite got the strength yet, but we're working on that, because you can work on strength, you can work on the patience. But if you treat them like a Grand Prix horse and you start shortening that gap and you have that mentality that, hey, this is what you are before they are, you will treat them like that. And of course, you go as slow as necessary. And I think the same would go for kids, right? And the same goes for us. You know, if you want to get to these high level achievers, or you want to achieve these goals, or whatever the case may be, you have to put in the right work. You have to schedule your time. You have to go and work out. You have to do all these certain things. You have to do those things that are the work in between, but you also have to have the proper mindset, the understanding that your thoughts are not just delusions. They are a powerful illusion of what your rally could be. All right, guys. So that's my little rant for your Monday morning motivation here at Colt Wins Horsemanship. If you found it any bit motivating or inspiring or helpful, insightful, if you learned something from it, we just ask that you share this with your family and your friends. And you can tag them in the comments below. If you're on social media, you can copy the link and share this podcast, the Heart of Horsemanship podcast, that many of you will be listening to this Monday morning motivation from as you get your week started. You can share this with them. We greatly, greatly appreciate everybody that tunes in every single week. We have a lot of exciting updates coming this week. So y'all take care. Have a blessed week. We will talk with y'all soon.